You ever have one of those days where you think, man, it can't get any more ridiculous than this? And then life just smacks you in the face and says, hold my beer. Yeah, that's about to be the story, so buckle up. Let me take you back to my gap year in 2023, right before life decided to get real interesting. I just started working for this little family-run company, let's call it Company Z. Seemed wholesome at first, husband, wife, and their daughter running the place, treating everybody like we're cousins at a backyard barbecue. For a while, it was actually kind of nice, at least until the day I tried to take one single day off. So picture this Metallica, their final show ever in my country. This was my one shot. Do not miss your chance moment. There's still a month to go, so I figure I'll be responsible, send a polite email to Jennifer, the wife, asking for the day off. Next morning, I get a reply, and I kid you not, she tells me, that's not how asking for a day off works. Now I'm sitting there blinking at the screen like, did I miss the part where you have to submit your request by carrier pigeon? So I try again, all formal, as if I'm petitioning the Queen, only to get another snarky response. You really need to think through what you're doing here. No explanation, no yes or no, just straight up weird vibes. Next workday, I bike in ready to get answers, and before I can even open my mouth, Mike, the husband, looks at me and goes, "Do you still want to go to that concert?" I nod, trying not to look too eager, and he just cuts me off. "Take off your vest and go home." That's it. No warning, no drama. Fired on the spot just for asking to see a band play one last time. I stood there, vest in hand, looking at my coworkers like, is this a prank? Nope, dead serious. He says, "We don't need employees who put concerts above work." And that was that. Now, I'm not exactly confrontational, but this was next level. I went home still fuming, told my mom what happened, and she lost it. They can't just fire you for that. She starts firing off emails to Jennifer, and what do we get back? More gems like, your son needs to learn workplace priorities. It was all so smug. So I did what every mildly annoyed millennial does. I Googled my rights. Turns out where I live, you can't just be fired on the spot unless you steal, commit fraud, can't do your job, or flat out refuse to work. I'd done none of those. So we lawyered up. Fast forward. We're sitting in small claims court. Me in my best only suit, Jennifer looking like she owns the place, except she's all alone. No lawyer. The judge asks her, "Is there any policy that says employees can't ask for days off for personal events?" She stammers, "Well, it's common sense." The more she talks, the worse it gets. She even calls me a spoiled brat right in front of the judge. That's pretty much where she lost the case. I walk out of there, lawyer grinning, and a month later, 6 months worth of pay hits my bank account. Not only did I get my revenge, but I went to that concert in September. And you better believe when they played Enter Sandman, I screamed my lungs out. Hands down the best and most profitable concert of my life. But if you think that's wild, wait till you hear what happened with my mother-in-law. Man, this woman could write the textbook on boundary issues. I inherited this old pickup from my granddad. It's not much to look at, but it's solid, has memories baked into the seats, and honestly, it's a part of the family at this point. My wife gets it. The neighbors never complained. But my mother-in-law, oh, she hated that truck. Every visit, that thing makes you look poor. It's bringing down the neighborhood. When are you going to get a real car? She'd ramp up the drama every time, lecturing me on property values, reputation, blah, blah, blah. I tried explaining the sentimental value. She just rolled her eyes. Things hit a fever pitch at a family barbecue. She pulls me aside, makes this whole scene about how I'm embarrassing her daughter. The neighbors are talking, yada yada. I stay calm. Say, "Look, it's my truck, my property, and I'm not selling it." She explodes, accuses me of loving a dead man's memory more than my living wife. I'll admit, that one stung. When she leaves, she tells me this isn't over. I should have taken her more seriously. Next week I'm at work and my neighbor calls. There's a strange woman taking photos of my truck. Yep, it's her. That evening she calls my wife all proud of herself for listing my truck online, says she's helping by selling it for me, and even expects a cut of the money. I tell her, you need to take those ads down now. She laughs, tells me I'm being dramatic, and says she'll just handle it herself. Next thing I know, random people are showing up to look at my truck. I have to tell them it's not for sale. I call my mother-in-law and she doubles down. She'll just sell it behind my back if she has to. Possession is 9/10 of the law, she says. Yeah, she actually went there. So I say, fine, go ahead, try. She thinks I'm finally giving in. She's not just persistent, she's convinced she's right. Saturday rolls around and I call in sick to work. I park my car down the street, hide out in my neighbor's yard, and watch as she shows up with 2 random guys in a trailer. They load up my truck, she hands them a fake bill of sale keys, and all she even has paperwork she's clearly forged. That's when I call 911, explain what's happening. 2 cop cars show up before they can even leave the driveway. I come out, show the cops my title, registration, and insurance, everything in my name. My mother-in-law starts in with, this is a family misunderstanding, but the cops aren't buying it. They arrest her right there, handcuffs and all, in front of the whole neighborhood. Turns out, selling someone else's property, even if you're just trying to help, is still theft. Felony theft, in fact, because of the truck's value. My wife comes home mid-chaos, and honestly, she's more mad at her mom than me. The legal fallout is quick. Her mom spends the weekend in jail, ends up with probation, community service, a restraining order, and has to pay all my legal fees. Oh, and she can't come on my property or talk to me for 2 years. Best part, I finally fixed up that truck. New paint, new seats, the things never looked better. My wife and I don't have to deal with her mom's nonsense anymore, and every time I see that truck, I smile just a little extra. You know, sometimes malicious compliance really is the best medicine. Now, if you're thinking that's where the crazy stops, nah. I grew up a preacher's kid. And if you know, you know. My parents wouldn't even let me win the pumpkin carving contest at church, had to let the other kids have it. So nobody thought I got special treatment. Even when I was the only one hitting the notes in choir, my folks would keep me away from solos. But Karen, there's always a Karen, right? Her daughter always got the spotlight, and when she didn't, Karen lost her mind. One Easter I got placed near the mic for a song, no solo, just helping everyone stay on pitch. Karen's daughter, who couldn't hit the low notes, wanted that spot. Karen cornered. My mom demanded her daughter get a solo. My mom explained nicely that it wasn't even a solo and the kids had already learned the song. Karen wasn't hearing it. She even brought a new song last minute, tried to stage a takeover. My mom, cool as ice, let her daughter sing it with me on piano. Come Easter, as always, the mic was a bit closer to me and you could hear my voice just a touch louder in the recording. I like to think my mom did that on purpose. Sometimes the best way to deal with entitled people is to let their own actions do the talking. And speaking of entitled people, let's talk about our neighbors at the retail store where I work now. For years, the landscaping company next door hogged all their parking for vans that were never even there, so their customers parked in our lot. My boss tried reasoning, but the neighbor wasn't having it. So when a parking company offered us automated license plate enforcement, my boss tried to be nice, asked the landscaper if they wanted in. Nope, kicked out the rep, made a scene. Instead of putting up an expensive fence, my boss had his construction buddy drop some big rocks along the property line. Problem solved. The landscaper's family tried to get cute and parked their cars in our lot to get back at us. But with the new cameras, they started getting fines. When they came begging for mercy, my boss just shrugged. Sorry, it's out of my hands. Now our lot's clear business is good, and my boss walks around grinning like a cat who got the cream. Last one for you, just to round things out. 15 years ago in Finland, I worked at a park where tours ran on the hour. A Swedish tourist totaled Karen classic haircut and all argued for half a day about ticket prices. Swore our website had the real price, even though she'd found some random 6-year-old blog post. When she finally caved and came back to buy tickets, the last tour had already left because her clock was on Swedish time. She lost it, started screaming, threatened to sue, called the police, the King of Sweden, whatever. Her poor family looked like they wanted to disappear. I just closed up shop and went home laughing the whole way. So what's the lesson in all this? Sometimes you've got to let people crash into the walls they build for themselves. You hold your ground, stay true to what matters, whether it's an old truck, a pumpkin contest, or just parking spaces. And when the dust settles, you get the last laugh. Now, let me throw it over to you. What's your take? Ever had to stand your ground when someone tried to steamroll your family or not? What's the wildest way you've seen karma play out? Drop your stories below. I want to hear them. And if you made it this far, share your experience and tell us where you're watching from. Justice karma, or just dumb luck? What's your verdict?